the human being has to somehow understand what death really means, you see, because otherwise he's going to be terrorized by the death. And some death is good, almost, well, actually all death is good at some level, is necessary. But to die consciously in the way that we are talking about, it is nothing macabre about it. It's nothing sick about it. It is very joyful. It means to die to what is unreal, what is untrue, what is not you. To die to that means to be alive in the truth. You see, so we should not be afraid to hear this type of statement, this type of words. They are spiritual words. They are not the words of arrogance or ignorance. They are the words themselves come from the real life, the everlasting life, the life which cannot die. So I don't even know if you want to call it life. It's pure existence itself is speaking those words to say, don't try and rescue yourself. You know, it is just the sort of the defense mechanism of the ego that we, the beingness, have identified with death itself, actually. And now we have to re-identify with eternal existence. And that re-identification or disidentification with the unreal is felt as a kind of death, because now, out of your own prayer to be set free from all form of ignorance, all kind of fears, then something is going to start to die in you. But you must recognize, you must be somehow strong enough, reassured enough, be reminded enough, you see, to anticipate this moment when this dying is come and it's your turn, and it's your turn to experience the fullness of grace, to die to what is unreal. And of course, in the physical body, it has a certain taste. It doesn't feel necessarily comfortable. Like many medicine, when you take medicine, sometimes good medicine is not pleasant. You don't take medicine like, you know, it's a pleasant experience. It's not like you're going out for a meal. The medicine itself is a kind of cure. It doesn't sometimes taste very good. But it passes, and then it brings again, it restores all order, you see. So this medicine of understanding is washing away all the misunderstanding and bringing you back to life again, to the fullness of your life. And embrace it, you see. Embrace it, don't run. Those who run have to come and face it again. Each time they run, they have to come and face it, because life will bring you to this point again and again until you choose life. Every time you run, you're choosing death to protect the ego, to run away carrying the ego. So as you somehow become more mature, you will give this up. Something finishes. This will be my last breath. And then some people say, I'd like this to be my last breath. But there are a good number of people who feel, no, I am happy to come back. They like the life so much. And it is understandable, because the idea, if you are brought up as a person, and that's your strongest sense of yourself, and then you are attached to life, you're attached to people, you're attached to things, and the idea of not coming back feels like it's a kind of death. But that idea is really based on very poor understanding, in fact. We need to look at what you are attached to presently that makes you feel you'd like to come back. First of all, you have no control over where you would be, who you would be, how you would be. You don't know what religion you belong to, or if you belong to any at all. You don't know that if this present body is a male body, whether you come back as a woman. We don't know anything at all. And also, you may look at the things you're presently attached to that leave you with such a strong feeling that you would like to come back and take a look at it, and really look at it for a while and consider, is it worth it to come back for this? Because this might not be here for you. So it is very much what I want to say today is that in terms of when people say they hope this is their last breath, it really is to be birthed in the state
the state of mind of a person. That state is not a very high state. You have no control over your situation, your circumstances, who will be your parents. In fact, you didn't have that when you came into this life also. But you don't know where you will be placed. You will not remember this life that caused you to be attached to the idea of wanting a next life. There's a past life which you have forgotten that brought you to this life. So, of course, because we are consciousness, we can't really regret so deeply, because consciousness itself is the joy that we are. It is the life that we are. So you love life. But for those who feel this, I would like this to be my last life, they mean that they want to be in a state, not just a place, but a state of being, where they are totally in contentment and harmony with the Supreme Being. They don't want to be in a state that is predominantly run by dualistic thinking, by inconsistent thought, by restlessness. They don't want to be in a state where they are confused about who they are, or confused by love or by doctrines or anything. They want to be in a stable state of happiness and joy, to be in harmony with the Supreme Being of the universe. That's what it means. I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back to that state of mind, not only to that place, because you will not come back to that place. The chances of coming back to that specific place, you don't have that choice. You may be born again in a completely different place, you see, and you may be born with also sort of physical impediments, mental impediments. You really don't know. We do not know that. And if you were born with mental impediments or physical impediments, it doesn't really mean that you are at a disadvantage. You may be at a disadvantage in this life, in this world, but internally, this is where you make your life worth it. Who you are internally, not who you're taken to be by others. So I ask that each one reflect on that, because when you take your first step towards self-realization or towards self-discovery, it is a journey of self-discovering, of becoming more and more subtle in the ways of the truth, more beautiful, more peaceful, more kind, more open, less judgmental, less fearful. And this is a state, it's not a place. So when you feel that you are the body and you want to be in a place, when you realize that you are the self, you're happy to be in the state of grace, the state that is the Lord Jesus Christ, or Prophet Muhammad, or the Buddha, or Krishna, or Lord Shiva, or Lord Ram, or Sri Ananda Mahima. See, these are states of being, they're not places. Please reflect on this. Full blessing to you. Namaste. Namaste. A beautiful day here in Portugal. Beautiful morning. And in a few days, I'm leaving for India. I have this thing maybe I can share with you, because sometimes, we are speaking with Sangha. And here we're speaking to we're quite developed beings, in the sense that there's the understanding becoming now one's own testimony, one's own experience, that oneself is a self, or at least a presence, in whose light all things are perceived. But sometimes I have to bring a point and to say, I need to bring this point to you. And as soon as we begin to point it out, some defensiveness is coming up, you see. And of course, in the human world, this is natural. We feel very quickly we're going to be attacked or pulled apart. But this, remember, this is a related person. And what I see is sometimes like this, that as soon as this approach is made, when something very strong has to be stated or something, we get the hood up, like the snake, whoa, like this, because you feel under attack. But I am only speaking to those who are searching for the truth. The common man, will do everything to live, to survive. But the one who is searching for truth will do everything to take every opportunity to die. Again, the regular man whose identity is based in ego will do everything to live. But the spiritual one who is searching for truth will take every opportunity to die. What it means to die, it means to die to one's ignorance, to die to ego, to die to fear, to die to suffering, to die to misconception, to die to judgments, so that they can really re-emerge or to wake up to their eternal and timeless being and reality. Please reflect on this. If my words mean something to you in this moment, watch this tendency to react and to defend, and don't identify with it. Just observe and stay in the neutrality of your being. And like this, if you don't feed it, if you don't give it the food of your attention, your belief or identity, then for sure it will dissolve. It will thin away. And until it dissolves, or until you are clear in your heart that this life is for freedom, then these little defensiveness will stay, because it's the way in which you keep your ego. Thank you for your attention.
How would you get people who, some people are going to watch this video, how would you get them to look? Because it's not just a normal looking. How would you get them to look to see what is observing the observed?
The observer cannot really be seen. It can only be assumed. It cannot be seen. Because the observer is only an idea. You see, there is observing. There is observing. But there isn't an observer. When we say an observer, or the one who is looking, or the doer, it seems like there's an entity there doing something. You see, it's like a doctor or a musician or something. When you say these terms, it seems like there is somebody who is doing this. The observer, like somebody is observing. You see, so we look: is there a somebody who is observing? Because if there is a somebody who is observing, then this somebody is also observed.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Then by what is it observed? Is
Yes.
it? So when this question comes, all the noise, all the confusion is going to get combed out. You see? And then all that remains is what cannot be combed out. And that is very much here. That is very much here. Where are you precisely if you're not the body? Who can measure you? What is your location? You're infinite. And so this question of the observer, can the observer be observed? This question will take you home to emptiness. Then he continues, I haven't met you yet, but in the corner of my vision, to my surprise, I have seen you walking next to me sometimes the last few days. Then he asked, final thing, I want to die so that I can really live. Not many people talk like this. You see? Everybody wants to live, they don't want to die. But he wants to die so that he can live. He can really live, you see? Not just live. You have to die first before you can live. And you have to die consciously. Die, but don't be dead.
Yeah, that dying, that conscious dying is
Yeah.
the end of the me.
You see, the thing is that nobody's doing it. This isn't my secret. Nobody's going to die. But dying happens. What dies is the wrong idea of what I am dies. Ignorance dies. Falsity dies. You see, they say the ego dies, but really and truly the ego doesn't exist.
No.
So when the ego dies, it means that its non-existence is actually recognized.
So it's as if you see your non-existence through this looking.
You see your non-existence as the false. You see your non-existence as the limited. You see your non-existence as the person. Factually, actually. The person is only a kind of uniform that the beingness wears for a while. is just a sort of a label. It's a costume. The body is the costume, and the label of the costume is the sense of person. But really it is consciousness. Consciousness is the one actor playing all these parts. You see? And this is what you see. When you see this, then something dies. Delusion dies. The separation dies, or it begins to die. And then what happens now, what is reborn, is this new understanding, a new seeing comes. Then he says, then I can really live. And then there's no end to this living, to that life. Because there's nobody living it. You see, somebody dies. Someone asked me one time, like this, it reminds me these words. Somebody asked me once, so what happened after your master died? And I said, what are you talking about? My master has not died. You know, the master can never die. It is the mister that dies. The master, that supreme principle, the Satguru within. This one is eternal, you see. So this is what he's asking. I want to die. The death that can be, the death that can be died, the one that I can die, let that die, so that I can really live. Then he asks final words, how can I kill myself? Well, I've told him beautifully how to kill himself. Or how to kill what is not himself. Sure, how to kill what is not yourself. You know, what kind of instrument you're going to use. A knife will not do it. A gun will not do it. Suicide bombing won't do it. How are you going to kill yourself? This one is to ask the question, who am I who appear to have a life? Can it be found? Can I see the one who is living? There's life, but there's nobody living the life. Find out if there's one who says, I live, I do. See if you can find this one. And in searching for this one, he dies. Just searching. You don't kill him with a gun, with a sword. You don't kill it with poison. No. You kill it with wisdom and with insight, with this question.